I think when you look at the Cambridge children, they have had so much change in the last couple of weeks. You have to remember how young they are.
Princess Charlotte's graceful bow has set the royal world ablaze, unleashing a torrent of intrigue. This subtle act, heavy with unspoken meaning, has triggered a global frenzy with the monarch's hidden reaction. A raw, earth-shattering moment, stunning all who witness it. What mystery fuels Charlotte's poignant gesture? Why does the palace guard its secrets so fiercely? Step into the whirlwind of this royal drama as we uncover the electrifying truth, a revelation that threatens to redefine the monarchy's future in an instant. Princess Charlotte and the secret weight of a royal title. The weight of royal titles has a way of shaping lives long before their bearers even understand them. And a few moments reminded the world of this truth more than when Princess Charlotte, still a child, did something no one expected. With cameras flashing and dignitaries watching closely, she bowed her head with a poise far beyond her years. It wasn't rehearsed, it wasn't prompted. It seemed to come naturally, as though centuries of tradition were already alive within her. Even King Charles appeared taken aback. What many had dismissed as the playful, sometimes cheeky personality of a little girl was suddenly overshadowed by a glimpse of something greater. The quiet awareness of a role she did not choose but was born into. But Charlotte's story is not just about a single gesture. It is about the delicate balance between law, legacy, and the invisible planning that stretches across generations of monarchs. Every part of her title, every name chosen for her, and even the way she is presented to the world has been shaped by a system that values symbolism as much as bloodlines. When she was born on May 2, 2015, the world celebrated the arrival of Prince William and Catherine's second child. Outside the Lindo wing of St. Mary's Hospital, crowds gathered, bells rang, and the town crier proclaimed her birth with the same fanfare reserved for moments of national importance. Her official style was announced as Her Royal Highness Princess Charlotte of Cambridge, a title rooted in her father's position at the time as Duke of Cambridge. But what seemed like a natural birthright was, in fact, a carefully calculated gift of history. Under rules set out in 1917 by King George V, only the monarch's children and male-line grandchildren were entitled to be princes or princesses. That meant Charlotte, as a great-grandchild of Queen Elizabeth II, would not have qualified for the title. She could have been known simply as Lady Charlotte Mountbatten Windsor, but fate, or perhaps foresight, intervened. In 2012, Queen Elizabeth issued new letters, patent declaring that all children of the eldest son of the Prince of Wales would carry the title of Prince or Princess. Without that decision, Charlotte would have grown up outside the inner circle of styled royals. Instead, she stepped into the world as a princess from the moment of her birth. Her name itself carried layers of meaning, threads of history woven together with deliberate care. Charlotte not only paid tribute to Queen Charlotte, the wife of King George III, but also served as the feminine form of Charles, honoring her grandfather, the current king. Elizabeth was an obvious nod to her great-grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, while Diana kept alive the memory of the grandmother she never met. From the moment her name was spoken, she became a living bridge between past and present, carrying the echoes of both stability and tragedy. What many forget is that a royal title is not just a decorative label. It is a constant shadow that dictates how one moves through the world. For Charlotte, it determines her place at ceremonies, her treatment in schools, the level of public attention she receives, and even how she might be addressed abroad. To the outside world, it may seem a charming curiosity, but within the palace walls, it is a map of her future. And that future is already a subject of speculation. Royal watchers have long wondered what new title she might one day inherit. Some have whispered about the possibility of the Duchess of Edinburgh, a title heavy with history, and once held by Prince Philip, who gave it unparalleled prestige through decades of public service. After Philip's passing in 2021, the title passed temporarily to Prince Edward in 2023. But unlike in the past, it will not remain with Edward's children. Instead, when the time comes, it will return to the crown, and the monarch will decide who receives it next. Could Charlotte, the granddaughter of the king and a future pillar of the monarchy, be chosen to carry it forward? The title itself is no trivial inheritance. Since its creation in 1726, it has been given sparingly, reserved for royals who carried both weight and promise. Prince Frederick, Prince George, and later Philip, each shaped its meaning in different ways. Yet it was Philip who transformed it from a mere courtesy into a legacy of action. Through the Duke of Edinburgh's award, he inspired millions of young people across the globe, urging them to test their limits, embrace responsibility, and take their place in the world. To be named Duchess of Edinburgh would place Charlotte directly in that line of expectation. Another possibility, though shrouded in controversy, is the title Duchess of York. Historically, it has gone to the second son of a monarch, but with Prince Andrew currently holding it, and with the scandals surrounding him, it remains unclear whether that title will ever be revived. If it is quietly retired, Charlotte could instead be granted an entirely new dukedom when the time is right. After all, titles are as much about optics as they are about tradition, and the monarchy often uses them to send subtle signals to the public. But whether it is Edinburgh, York, or something yet unimagined, the point remains. Titles for royals like Charlotte are not random gifts. They are chess pieces in a centuries-old game of strategy, meant to reinforce the image of a monarchy that adapts while preserving its mystique. Of course, speculation is half the fun when it comes to royals. Would Charlotte embrace such a weighty role with the same grace as her great-grandfather Philip? Would she step into it reluctantly, or would she quietly thrive under its responsibilities? Already she has shown flashes of composure that surprise even seasoned royal watchers. That single bow of the head, small though it was, reminded many that she is not just a child in the royal spotlight. She is someone being carefully prepared for a life of service and symbolism. The conversation grows even more intriguing when one considers how Charlotte's path will diverge from her brothers. George, as heir to the throne, carries the burden of kingship. Louis, as the youngest, may live with less scrutiny, but fewer options for meaningful public roles. Charlotte, in the middle, occupies a fascinating space, not destined to rule, yet far too prominent to fade quietly into the background. In many ways, she mirrors the role her great-aunt Princess Anne carved out: visible, respected, and deeply tied to the working fabric of the monarchy. Still, the monarchy thrives on mystery, and nothing is ever set in stone. Behind the gilded doors of Buckingham and Windsor, titles are whispered about long before they are announced. They are tools of diplomacy, continuity, and sometimes quiet correction. They carry expectations that outlive the individuals who bear them, and that is why even the smallest gestures from Princess Charlotte can set tongues wagging. Was her respectful bow a sign of instinctive understanding, or simply a child mimicking the behavior of adults around her? Does her calm presence in public hint at a royal strategy already shaping her image, or is it just coincidence? These are the questions that fascinate both critics and admirers. And while no one knows the answers yet, it is precisely that uncertainty which keeps the public enthralled. One thing is certain: Charlotte's titles, both now and in the future, are not just about pomp and ceremony. They are about legacy, continuity, and the monarchy's ability to project meaning in an ever-changing world. Whether she one day becomes Duchess of Edinburgh, carries a new dukedom, or simply remains Princess Charlotte, the symbolism will ripple far beyond her personal story. For now, she remains a child, playful, spirited, and occasionally mischievous. But every now and then, in moments when the weight of her lineage slips through in subtle gestures, the world is reminded that she carries a destiny not entirely her own. And when that destiny calls, her name, her title, and her history will be waiting, ready to turn a little girl into something much more. But what does Princess Charlotte's role reveal about the future of the modern Windsor legacy? Stay with us to find out. Princess Charlotte and the Modern Windsor. Princess Charlotte's unique place in the House of Windsor. She may still be a child, yet her presence reaches into history, duty, and a shifting idea of what royalty can be. The Windsor name was born in 1917, when King George V replaced the family's German title with one rooted in Britain. That wartime choice gave the modern monarchy a symbol of steadiness that still matters, while also setting rules and expectations that shape lives today. Charlotte sits inside a line that has weathered war, scandal, and reinvention. Through her father, Prince William, she links to a future the nation watches closely. Through her grandmother, Diana, she carries a memory of warmth and change that altered how the public sees the family. Her mother, Catherine, brings steady calm and an ordinary upbringing that makes royal life feel human. Those traits are visible in Charlotte's quiet confidence when cameras peak. Much of her role is shaped by laws and royal decisions written long before her birth. Letters patent from 1917 and later rulings decide who gets titles. Debates about who should carry royal status flare up again and again. When the family gathers for big moments, jubilee celebrations, or coronation ceremonies, the world sees both tradition and change. Since King Charles became monarch in September 2022, talk about a slimmer, more focused royal household has gained momentum. But rules tell only part of the story. Small, unguarded moments. Walking beside her parents at an official event, offering a steady look during formal proceedings, or sharing a quick grin with a sibling. Speak louder than many speeches. The public craves honesty more than ceremony, and Charlotte fits that space. She bridges an ancient institution and an audience that values realness over ritual. Modern tensions complicate the picture. The monarchy has had to answer hard questions about fairness, race, and how the media treats private life. Decisions over titles and public roles sometimes look political, and those debates drive headlines. For Charlotte, most of this is an adult conversation. She absorbs lessons by watching, copying, and testing limits the way any child does. Her parents' calm public parenting, patient, warm, firm, sets a tone that keeps her grounded. What happens when childhood plays give way to formal duty is the persistent puzzle. Her generation will inherit a crown that needs to feel relevant to a global public glued to social media and instant reaction. Some expect a stripped-back monarchy focused on core state work. Others want a visible family that models service and compassion. Charlotte's path will depend on choices by her grandfather and father, and on how a public tired of spectacle responds to genuine service. There is quieter power at work too. Royal children have long symbolized continuity and private life shown in public. Charlotte's steady presence and the warmth people sense from her family create a bridge to those who might otherwise ignore royal news. A genuine smile or spontaneous laugh can shift the public mood from scandal to connection. In that sense, she modernizes the House of Windsor not by breaking rules, but by living them with warmth. We can and should ask what a childhood shaped by history will cost. Will the need to appear composed at state occasions dim the small rebellions that make any child fully human? Will lineage narrow choices, or will Charlotte and her siblings redefine what royal life looks like in the 21st century? These are open questions, and speculation is fair, so long as we call it that. For now, Charlotte treads the line between private life and public meaning. Her story is not only about titles or ceremonies, it is about how a family bound to centuries-old decisions adapts without losing itself. Whether she becomes a frontline public figure with formal duties or a private member of a streamlined royal circle, her presence already matters. She is a living thread linking Windsor's past to a future that may look unfamiliar. Beyond ceremonies, Charlotte's image moves in ways earlier generations never imagined. Short clips and photos can shape public feeling overnight. That puts pressure on a family used to careful messaging. It also offers new power. A private smile or a small act in a viral clip can become shorthand for grace, shifting how people see the institution. The 2013 Succession to the Crown Act ended male preference in the line of succession and signaled a modernizing monarchy, a reminder that rules can change. Public debate about titles has been especially sharp. Some relatives received honors, others did not, and headlines rushed to read the motive. Those conversations mix history, law, and modern expectation. Charlotte will grow up amid those debates, and her generation may inherit their consequences. At public milestones such as the Platinum Jubilee in 2022 or the coronation events that followed, small gestures by royal children helped soften the ceremony. Observers noticed how family behavior often became the story. Looking forward, Charlotte might be drawn to causes that mirror Diana's compassion or Catherine's focus on well-being, or she might carve a new path entirely. Either way, how she grows and what she chooses to champion will shape how the monarchy connects with people in years to come. Her quiet choices will echo widely. But what hidden moments reveal how remembrance and family are reshaping the royals? Stay glued to your screen to find out how remembrance and family are reshaping the royals. After the ceremony, wreaths lay quietly at the memorial wall, white roses resting against cool stone, each ribbon carrying the name of someone who would never return. Official proceedings had ended, yet the air still pressed heavily with unspoken grief. But was this gathering really about protocol, or about something far deeper, something too human for palace traditions to contain? It wasn't the speeches that moved the crowd, nor even the monarch's presence, though his quiet conversations carried weight. What held hearts captive were simpler moments: a bowed head, a child's hand against cold stone, an old woman tracing letters carved in memory. These gestures weren't rehearsed for cameras. They were glimpses of raw dignity spilling into public view. The Morrisons' arrival captured this truth. Sarah approached the wall with her 3 children, each holding part of their wreath. Yet it was little Tommy, too young to grasp war, yet old enough to miss his father, who stilled the crowd. He broke from his siblings, reached up, and pressed his fingers against his father's name. Later, he turned to Kate and asked softly, "Do you think Daddy can see us now?" Kate knelt, her gown brushing the grass, and answered with the gentleness of a mother. She told him that every act of kindness, every brave choice, carried his father's spirit forward. Tommy nodded solemnly, then turned back to the plaque. Sometimes children reveal truths adults cannot. Nearby, the Patels laid photographs of their daughter, Mira, from smiling schoolgirl to uniformed medic. Her parents spoke of her letters describing the joy of healing children even in war zones. It was their first public remembrance. Grief had kept them private until now. But in speaking with Kate, sorrow shifted, softened by the chance to share. Then came Mrs. Henderson, carrying a box of her son David's letters and photographs. His words described football with local children, meals shared with families, schools built from dust. One photo showed him beaming, surrounded by laughing Afghan children. "He never did anything halfway," she whispered. Kate remarked how happy he looked, like a man who knew he was where he belonged. That single observation drew a rare smile from the grieving mother. As stories unfolded, strangers became companions. Mrs. Henderson exchanged numbers with Sarah Morrison, offering help with her children. The Patels spoke of visiting them soon. Out of grief, community was born. Proof that remembrance is not only about names carved in stone, but about lives carried forward through shared bonds. Even the king surprised many. Though expected briefly, he lingered, clasping hands and listening far more than he spoke. His presence felt steady, paternal, a quiet assurance that sacrifice had not been forgotten. Kate herself seemed deeply moved, carrying each family's story. Later, she reflected on what she had learned: David Henderson's love of music and teaching, Meera Patel's dream of opening a clinic at home, Tom Morrison's hope of becoming a teacher after helping rebuild schools. These were not faceless heroes. They were dreamers with unfinished plans, remembered not only for how they died, but for the lives they touched. Amid all this was the subtle presence of Charlotte. Earlier she had bowed her head, a small gesture yet heavy with meaning. Observers whispered that the young princess mirrored her mother's grace but carried her own quiet confidence. Only recently she had packed aid boxes at her first solo charity event. Seeing her in silence, her head bowed, felt like a glimpse of the monarchy's future. Could this child already embody the compassion her generation will demand? The contrast between grief and youthful presence was striking. Once, royal children were hidden behind palace walls, raised under strict protocol. But William and Kate show a different model: children who laugh, wave, squabble, and shine in public. Their openness feels less like royal distance and more like humanity balanced with tradition. In its own way, that too is remembrance, proving that those who sacrificed built a world where children can live freely. By midday, sunlight softened the solemn air of the garden. Families lingered, some in conversation, others in heavy silence. Kate stepped back, allowing space, but carried every story with her. The plaques would remain fixed on the wall, but their meaning now lived on in connections made that day, in whispered memories, in futures yet to come. This day was not an ending, but a beginning, a continuation of love, resilience, and community, written not in grandeur, but in gestures: the bow of a child's head, the touch of small fingers on carved stone, the tearful smile of a mother recalling her son's joy. These were legacies too powerful to fade. And perhaps the real question is this: will the values carried in that garden, courage, compassion, and connection, shape the monarchy of tomorrow as deeply as they shaped the families who mourn today? So, what do you think truly passed between Princess Charlotte's solemn bow and the monarch's unseen reaction? We'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe,